Have you been wanting to know how to quilt as you go? Let's go make this precious doll quilt with the quilt as you go method. But first, don't forget to share this so it was saved to your profile and you can come back to it later. The first thing I did was chose some fabric. Now I'm using these 5 by 5 inch squares from Missouri Star Quilt Company. This is Laguna Sunrise. And I pieced 4 of those together, just like this, okay? We're gonna do one right now. So choose the way that you want them to go. After you have the design that you like, I'm gonna pick these 2 up. I'm gonna lay this one on top of this one, pretty side to pretty side. I'm gonna sew down this seam. Then I'm gonna put this one pretty side to pretty side, and I'm gonna sew down that seam. Okay, I've sewn these together, so I'm gonna lay them back out. Take this one, I'm gonna lay it on top of this one, and I'm gonna sew straight down here. We're gonna sew a straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when we start and when we stop. Now, I'm gonna go iron mine. You go iron yours if you haven't already, and meet me right back here. So I have this block. My back fabric is pretty side down, and then I have my piece of quilt cotton, and then I have my block, pretty side up. So now I'm going to sew an X across this one and an X across this one.
I'm just sewing this with a straight stitch. I'm back stitching when I start and when I stop because my grandma said so. If you're not comfortable eyeballing your straight lines, you can mark them with an inkless fabric marker like a Hera marker, or you can use some kind of disappearing ink.
Now I'm going to take one block and lay it with the block face up. I'm going to take this piece of fabric that is 1.5 inches wide, I'm pretty sure, but let's measure it. This is 1.5 inches wide. I'm gonna fold it in half just like that. And I'm gonna take a second piece that's 1.5 inches wide. I'm gonna fold it in half just like that. So we're gonna have these 2 pieces. I'm gonna lay those right here on the edge of my quilt block. I cut mine, well, I was using a fat quarter. So it's just the length of what I had left. So mine are longer than what I needed. Then I'm going to take my second block and I'm going to place it just like this. So you have one block face down, back of your quilt face up, back of your quilt face down, front of your block face up, 2 strips, 1.5 inches wide, folded in half, and we're going to sew right there, just like that, easy peasy.
I don't use a special needle or a walk-in foot. You can use one. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just telling you that I don't.
Now, when you open it up, bum, 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 you have a pretty side on the back, pretty, and then this is what you have on the front. You have this piece that folds over, that's gonna get sewn right here, and this piece that's gonna get sewn right here. Easy, easy, easy.
You're also sewing this with a straight stitch. Back stitching when you start and when you stop. Because you know, my grandma terrified me. She made me think my project would fall apart if I didn't back stitch. So I always do.
That is the first step in the quilt as you go. You've sewn 2 blocks together. We're going to lay this front piece. We've sewn these 2 pieces together. We're going to lay those face down. Then we're going to lay this front piece that we've sewn together face up. So we have pretty side touching pretty side, the front face down, this front face up. We have 2 pieces of this that we're going to fold in half. The pretty side on the outside. So we're folding them in half just like this. We're going to put it right here and we're going to sew all the way down just like we did a minute ago.
Now we're doing a doll blanket, but you could use the same method to do a larger quilt. You could do it for a baby or even for a bed.
Now you've joined your rows of blocks together. So what you're going to do is come and sew down this side and sew down this side and straight stitch this one close to the edge and that one close to the edge.
There are lots of quilt as you go methods, and I showed y'all to sew an X over yours, but you can quilt it any way you want. You can do diagonals, you can do a bunch of straight lines, whatever it is. You quilt it how you want it, and then you sew your blocks together. I have one student who made a sunbonnet suit, and she quilted around each little girl because that's what she wanted. And I love y'all's creativity.
So now our quilt is ready. All we have to do now is finish it with the binding of your choice. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.